Shakoi camp in North Dakota. This is where those who say they are water protectors are staying put, even after the governor of this state has said that evacuations are in order, and the Army Corps of Engineers has said that they want people to move out by December 5th. But the Army Corps of Engineers saying, look, they are not going to forcibly remove the folks who are here. Now, the people who are here, the numbers have grown. They are here against the North Dakota Access Pipeline, trying to stop it in its tracks. The governor is saying today it is 95% finished, and there's still 5%, but that is an important 5% to those who are here who oppose it, because it will go underneath the Missouri River, and they say that could make real problems, be very dangerous for the people here. If it ever leaks, it would ruin their water supply. I want to give you a look around a little bit. If you'd come with me, we're just going to show you a little bit about this camp. Each camp area has a different name. And so you'll see all sorts of things. You'll see tents that look kind of more permanent, like the one that you're seeing there that has some what looks like a little more permanent structures. Then you'll see very small tents like the one that you see that's blue there. Very difficult, obviously, in these kinds of weather conditions, because the weather has gotten incredibly cold, and there has been basically blizzard conditions for the last couple of days, which is why you are seeing all of this snow. Now let me show you the teepee that's here, and it's incredible how these teepees are put up. If you've never seen one put up, it's pretty fast, but it's amazing how they keep them warm, because they're actually open. If you look there, they can open up in the top there to let out smoke so that the teepees don't catch fire when people are trying to warm themselves inside. They can be, though, incredibly warm inside, surprisingly warm. And then you have yurts, and I'm trying to find you a yurt, but I don't see one right near me right now. You're just seeing kind of a great expanse of teepees here. This camp started with hundreds. It is now in the thousands of people here, not just members of the Standing Rock Sioux, but members of many Native American nations from across the country, including all the way to Arizona and across the country who are here. There are also lots of people here who are not Native American, who are simply here supporting the cause. They all call themselves, again, water protectors. Now, this has been a battle that has gone on for many, many months, and that in part explains how this camp has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. There have been a couple of times where there have been clashes between those who want to stop the pipeline and law enforcement. Now, if you look with me up that hill, that is Media Hill up there. And basically that means that's where the media comes and has to sign in. And then if you go beyond that hill where you're seeing those other ridges, well, down that road is right where the police and the Army Corps of Engineers are, on the other side of a bridge. And that is kind of the flashpoint whenever there is any instance of trouble or any potential violence. That's usually where it would happen. But so far, this really has been a large grouping of people who have been here peacefully. They say they are not going to leave. They are staying put, even considering these conditions. This is not an easy place to live by any means in these conditions. And one of the things the governor was saying is that the evacuation order, which he mentioned today, the evacuation order was based on what he would do, for example, if there were floods. And if there was great flooding, he would tell people you need to evacuate. He says that's what he was doing because of this storm. But the Dakota people, the Native American people here, the Standing Rock Sioux and others say this has been their land long before anyone else showed up, and that they've learned to live with these conditions, and they're simply not going to respond to any calls for an evacuation unless and until the pipeline, the Dakota Access Pipeline, is stopped. Now, I've got some questions coming in from you. Oh, there's also this. Beautiful animals out here. Some of these horses date back to the 1800s. They are the descendants of horses that were involved in other battles between Native Americans and back then the U.S. government or the Army. And you are seeing these throughout the camp, and they're taken care of by caretakers and their owners here. But they're actually staying here with their owners, and you're also seeing lots of animals, dogs that are out here that people brought with them. I mean, they're treating this as home. I have to be honest. If you look around you, you'd think, wow, this is pretty rough, but people feel like this is home, especially those whose ancestors once ruled this land. Now, let's talk a little bit about what you want to know, and there's been some questions that you've sent me on Facebook Live. Let's see here. Someone asked, what supplies do people need, and where do we send them? Very good question. I do want to talk about supplies a little bit. Yesterday, we heard from law enforcement. The sheriff's department said that they were going to cut off supplies to this camp and the other camps surrounding this camp, and that they were going to stop people from being able to come and go. But then an hour later, the spokesperson said, wait a minute, there's been a misunderstanding. We have now gotten more information from the governor's office saying that actually they are not going to cut off supplies, that was a misstatement, that they are not planning to do that. There was talk initially of fines for people who brought in supplies like food or wood to make permanent structures. That does not appear to be happening now, according to the governor in a press conference that he has today. As far as where to send things, there are lots of folks in this camp. If you look up Oceti Sakowin, which is easy to find, or Standing Rock, you will find some information where you can potentially send things. There is a lot, though, of supplies here. You'd be surprised. People have really stocked up, and they are still winterizing this camp. All right, let's move on to another question here. Why aren't the treaties being honored? You got me. I think that is where the fight lies. Treaties are a very old way of doing business here, and the Native American tribes here say that those treaties have been broken so many times, and they're just not going to put up with it. And they say that they have claim to the land, including the Missouri River and underneath the river. And that's a lot about what this fight is about. It's about that treaty. We do know that the Army Corps of Engineers and some of the elders and leaders of the Standing Rock Sioux are supposed to be meeting. They were supposed to be meeting the last couple of days, but weather did not permit that. But a meeting is supposed to happen yet again with the Army Corps of Engineers and the Standing Rock Sioux. We will have to see how that works out, but this is one of the things that the Standing Rock Sioux is really, really concerned about, because they feel like a treaty is being broken yet again by the U.S. government, or at least the Army Corps of Engineers, and allowing the Dakota Access Pipeline. Now, the Dakota Access Pipeline, as well as the law enforcement authorities here, say this was vetted out, worked out by the courts, and that the Dakota Access Pipeline has every right to go forward with their pipeline, that they had legal rights to the land. The Oceti Sakowin say, that is the name for the tribe, the Sioux, they say, no, that's not true. That does not jive with how they read the treaty. So this is really where the flashpoint is between the tribe and the Army Corps of Engineers and the North Dakota Access Pipeline. Now, let me read one more of your questions. It said, why did it take so long for people to care? You know, I think people have been really involved and caring. If you look online, you will find a lot of people who are talking about this. I don't think you're seeing a lot of national coverage. I don't think you saw a lot of national coverage when it comes to the last few months, because there was this thing called the 2016 election. And to be honest with you, that has taken a lot of the energy and time of journalists around the world, mind you. Around the world, they've been watching the United States, because that also affects a great number of people, not just in the United States, but again, in countries all over the world, because of the United States presence all over the world. And so that took a lot of time and effort for journalists, including myself. So that is one of the reasons. Is it a great excuse? No, we'll be honest with you. A lot of us do want to cover a lot of different stories, and we try to do our best to do that. So we do other venues. We go online, but I myself have been out here. This is my second time. And so if you're watching, shows all day, you're going to see some of our stories, but also we've been doing an extensive amount of coverage online, and that's getting quite a lot of attention. People are paying attention to what's going on here, and I think a lot of people do care. Look, there are some people who are very much for this Dakota Access Pipeline, saying, hey, it's going to bring jobs, construction jobs, it's going to bring money, it's going to bring tax dollars. And then there are those who say, wait a minute, this is going to ruin the environment, which ultimately, if this pipe does rupture at some point, it's going to ruin the water supply for 18 million people. And so there's a huge divide in what people think and how they think this should go forward. There are certainly people on both sides, but not at this camp. At this camp, the folks here say they're not going to go anywhere, even in these dangerous cold conditions, until the pipeline is stopped. And right now, the governor has admitted that there is a stalemate. Thanks for being with us, you guys. Sarah Seidner from the Oceti Sakowin camp. Appreciate you being here to listen.